Eggplant is in season, and since we take advantage of foods in season, today we are coming to make my all-time favorite eggplant stew. If you are new, thanks for joining, and to my old golden members, I love you so much. The list of ingredients is in the description below. For my ingredients, I'm going to use chopped onion, chopped bell peppers, chopped tomatoes, and also nutmeg for flavor. I'm also going to use 4 eggs and eggplant. For the eggplant, this is the type of eggplant I love to use. I'll also use my stinky fish. For now, let's leave it in the black rubber because we don't want to call houseflies around. Tomatoes is out of season, so I'm going to use tomato paste and my leftover fried fish. In the blender, I have onion, garlic, pepper, ginger, and my natural spices. I'm going to use salt and turmeric. Please, the turmeric is not optional. And my natural spices, which contains bay leaf, rosemary, black pepper, and white pepper. To begin, I'll first roast my eggplant. Roasting the eggplant must be done very well because if the eggplant isn't roasted well, peeling will be very difficult. To enable the peeling to come out very easily, we have to roast the eggplant so that it will be black, the skin will be black, so that when we put our hands on it, it can easily remove. Eggplant has high percentage of water, so roasting it is not difficult. After a while, we are done roasting it and this is how it looks like. Even my roasting isn't well done. After roasting, we leave it in a bowl and cover it for it to cool down. The skin comes off easily when it cools down. In my pan, I'm using vegetable and palm oil. I'm using the two because I want a light red color. You can equally use one type of oil according to your choice. So I mix the two together and allow it to heat up before adding my ingredients. To my oil, I add the stinky fish. I wash this thoroughly before adding it to my oil. I make sure it melts before I proceed to add all the other ingredients. The stinky fish is to give the stew a fermented sour taste, which also elevates the flavor of the stew because we are using palm oil. After our stinky fish melts, we proceed to add our rosemary, and we add a lot of rosemary. Yes, this recipe calls for a lot of rosemary, approximately 1 tablespoon. After adding the rosemary, I give it a stir so that the flavors in the rosemary can come out into the oil. After, I add my blended ingredients. After adding my blended ingredients, which contains ginger, garlic, onion, and stock cubes, I give it a thorough blend and allow it to stay long on fire. The reason why I want it to stay long on fire is because I want it to cook very well before I proceed to add the other ingredients. After my stew has simmered for a while, I add my tomato paste, stir, and also allow it to fry very well. After the tomato paste have turned from sour to sweet, I added my black pepper, white pepper, and bay leaves. I give it a stir and allow that one to cook as well. After the stew has fried very well, I add my tomato, chopped onion, and chopped green peppers. The reason why I'm adding the tomatoes now is because I want it to pop up when the stew is ready. I don't want the tomato to melt or the vegetables to melt. Adding the vegetables to the sauce makes it very crunchy because the garden eggs is soft, the tomato paste is soft. So adding these vegetables makes your stew have a little bit of crunch and also give your stew a lot of roughage. After stirring, I go ahead to work on my egg. For my egg, I added turmeric, black pepper, white pepper, and gave it a stir. Adding these spices to the egg enables every bite in the stew have a little bit of flavor. We don't want the flavor to be in the stew and the egg should be bland. We want everything should have spice and flavor and make it very mouth-watering. For the stirring process, I make sure to beat the egg to allow air enter inside because I want the egg to bubble up when I pour it in the stew. Allowing air incorporates well in the egg enables the egg to form big lumps in the stew. I stir my stew as well to avoid it from burning, and I continue to give it a whisk so that I can now proceed to add it to my stew. After whisking my egg for a while, I stir my stew and put it into the stew. I make sure to put it in different sides or portions of the stew because I want it to form lumps. So I do this till the egg is finished and then I cover it. Whilst the egg is cooking, I proceed to remove the skin of my eggplant. Remember, in the beginning we covered the eggplant so the removal phase will be very easy. So this is what I'm doing, and even my own was a little bit difficult because I didn't roast it to get that black texture. So if you want to do this, make sure your eggplant is very black. Burning the skin doesn't make the eggplant burn. A little bit of skin was on it, but it is edible, so I left it there. After a while, I came to check on my stew and it has formed lumps, and I gradually stirred it because I don't want to break the egg. When I add the eggplant, I will stir. When I add the vegetables, I will stir. So I tried my best to reduce the stirring process. At this stage, we can eat our stew with any kind of carbohydrate of our choice, but we want eggplant stew, so proceed to mash our eggplant. To prevent my stew from getting burned, I added a little bit of water to the base so that I can work on my eggplant whilst it is simmering. For my eggplant, I mashed it with fork. Just wanted it to have a little bit of texture. I don't want the one that is very smooth. If I wanted a very smooth eggplant, I would have grinded it in the earthenware. But I just wanted a little bit of texture, so I crushed it with my fork. And as you can see, we have a little bit of skin there, but there is no cause for alarm, as I said in the beginning. After I've crushed it to my satisfaction, I add it to the stew. And for this stew, I don't want it very runny. I want it thick and creamy. So I just gradually stir it till it reaches a very uniform texture. If it is very thick, I'll add a little bit of water to loosen it up so that it can cook, and it seems I did that in this video. So I added a little bit of water to enable more heat incorporate well into my stew and let my stew cook very well. So I added it and then added salt to elevate the taste because the salt level had reduced. I gave it a quick stir and then added my fish. For the water to loosen the stew, if you have broth, you can use broth, any broth of your choice, but water is fine for me. I added my fish and gave it a quick stir as well. I finalized everything with my leftover bell pepper and onion, and this is also to make it more crunchy because the one we placed in the beginning had softened up. So this is just to make it more crunchy, and as you can see skin of tomato in there. That is why I didn't add the tomato in the beginning phase. For presentation purposes, I sprinkle it with a little bit of oil so that I can get that glossy finish. The stew is ready. We don't need to heat it up till it burns, and this is the outcome. Comment down below, what will you pair this stew with? I paired it with so many things and every pair was delicious. Don't forget to like this video to support me, share to friends and family, comment down below, subscribe for more videos like this. Remember not to depend on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, for He is going to show you which path to take. I love you, and until next time, stay blessed.